phones on a daily basis. If you've been harmed by a negligent or distracted driver, let us go to work for you.
Wettermark Keith, the name you know and trust.
If you have ever gone through the heartache of having a dog or a cat lost and then hopefully finding them and getting them back, chances are you'll say to yourself, I'm never going to let that happen again. The easiest thing to do is simply have your pets microchipped, yet so many people continue not to do it. A great time for us to have a conversation with veterinarian Dr. Jim Hammon over at the Northgate Animal Hospital, who brought two very special guests along with him this morning. Good to see you, Jim.
Thank you. This is Cassidy Harris, one of my team members, and then my dog Sophie.
So I will tell you, I'm in the camp of those who have lost their dogs and happily gotten them back. The first time she was not microchipped, but Luther was on the air, and thanks to Luther, I got my dog Daisy back. The other one, though, she was microchipped, and it's a kind of unusual story, but Jim, I couldn't believe how reliable the microchipping is.
It is one of the best lifesavers for reuniting pets that are lost with their owners again. And, you know, I actually have taken a little syringe apart, because a lot of people ask, you know, well, what is a microchip? And I don't know if we can see this well with the camera. Am I up high enough to where
Yeah,
you can...
just kind of hold it up.
Let me do that one more time.
It's tiny.
They are. It's just a little bigger than a kernel of rice. So,
yeah. It's hard to see, but we can kind of get the idea.
Or maybe I can just do it like this. They are tiny, but that's how big it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
It's going to go in the ear, right, Jim? Is that where it goes?
No, it actually goes right between the shoulder blades. So if we set Sophie up here on the desk, then you can actually see right here between her shoulder blades, subcutaneously, right under the skin, that is where the microchip is inserted. And all veterinarians and shelters insert the microchip in the same location so that we all know how to scan.
So I guess, do people not get it done because they're afraid somehow it's going to hurt their pet?
It's no different than just doing a rabies vaccination or any of your other shots. So we actually utilize just a needle and syringe. So this is one of the Home Again needles and syringes. And the microchip is loaded inside the barrel of the needle. And so then we just insert it right under the skin, and that's where the microchip is located. So the microchip itself is, there's no batteries. You know, it's actually a transducer. It has a unique number code in it, and actually the frequency of the scanner activates the microchip so that that unique number pops up on a scanner. So we'll just show you, this is one of the scanners, and if we scan Sophie, then you can hear it beep, but when it runs right over the top of the I don't know if you can see that or not.
It's a little bit difficult.
But anyway, the ID number pops right up on the scanner, and that's what happens at the shelter or at your veterinarian whenever a lost dog comes in.
Okay, so let's clarify one thing, because this was I didn't understand this at first with my dog Missy, who got out. It is not a GPS tracker, right? The microchip only works because you're going to scan it when the dog safely gets to you.
That is correct. So for a microchip to work, a dog has to be found and has to be taken to a shelter or a veterinarian or a rescue group that has a scanner. And then once the dog is scanned, then that unique number pops up. We can actually know which numbers go with which companies, and then we check the database and find out who the owner of the pet is.
I guess that's also important for those watching who may have ever had the luck, if you will, of finding a stray dog or cat. Don't make an assumption that the dog doesn't have a home. You can't see that microchip with your eye. You've got to get it into a veterinarian to let them scan and try to find the owner, correct?
Nor can you feel one. So an owner can't feel between the shoulder blades and say, oh, there's a microchip there. They are tiny. the body actually scars them into that location so that they don't migrate or move, but you cannot palpate those. You can see them on an x-ray, but bringing the pet into the veterinarian, if somebody says, hey, this dog showed up on my front porch, it's been here for 3 days, I love this dog, I'm going to go ahead and get vaccinations and keep it, we always say, well, before we do anything like that, let's scan the dog and make sure that this dog doesn't have an owner that we can get him back to.
Okay, I guess it's important to clarify, once you have put the microchip in as the veterinarian, at that point you step back, the maintenance of the monitoring system, if you will, falls to a third party, right?
Well, yes. There's no batteries, there's no parts that wear out on a microchip. Now, I've had a microchip fail before, so one of the things I always recommend is that at your annual physical exam for your pet, have your veterinarian scan the microchip each year just to make sure it's working properly. Most microchips, the vast majority, 90% of them last the life of the pet. So that should not be an issue, but always have them checked. And then the other thing is, when you get your pet microchip, you got homework to do. So you need to go to that company's website and register that microchip under your name and your pet's name with all the contact information and addresses and cell phones. And then if you move or your cell phone changes, you go back to that website and always make sure you keep that information up to date, because that is the lifeline that gets your pet back to you should your pet get lost.
I was negligent in that, and then our dog did get out, but I was able to call the company and they updated it for me so quickly. I think I hadn't even been paying them an annual fee for the monitoring, but they allowed me to kick that right back in again, and I had Missy back within 24 hours. It was really remarkable. You
bring up a really good point. Once you have purchased your microchip and inserted it, then all companies monitor that for the life of the pet. There is no ongoing fee just for you being in the database. There are some companies like Home Again that offer a premium membership so that you can actually call the 800 number and you can actually have pet rescuers that work to help you find the pet. You can print lost pet posters. They also do things like provide cost for the Poison Control Center. When you call that, usually a $75 value. If you give them your microchip number instead of your credit card, that is for free. And they'll even fly your pet back home if it's lost over 500 miles away. So those are the things that a membership does for you. But every company, including the Home Again that we use here, if you don't do the membership fee, your microchip does not turn off. It works for the life of your pet, and you have nothing else that you need to do to keep that going. Okay, last question before I let you go see your patients, who I'm sure are waiting to have you walk in the room. Is there an age of a dog or a cat where you start to do this? I mean, if you have a newly adopted kitten or puppy, can you microchip them? You absolutely can, and we do that quite often. And then, of course, if we're doing early spay-neuter, then any shot that you get when you're asleep is better than when you're awake. So a lot of times we'll be microchipping at the time we're doing the spay or neuter for a dog or a cat. So that's an excellent time as well. But there's no anesthesia required, no local that you need to apply. You just give this injection just like you would any other injection, and the pets do quite well, and we can do it on any visit right on the exam room table and not have a problem at all. All right, well, she is making me feel pretty relaxed this morning. She is one chilled out dog. Sophie's a great one. Jim, thanks so much for the education this morning. Oh, can I add one more thing,
of course.
Julie?
Yes.
One other thing that I want to tell people is don't let this keep you from having your current rabies tags, ID tags, and collars on your pet.
Okay.
With Sophie, my collar is worn because she's been wearing it a long time, but it's got her name and our phone number on it. And then in addition, here's the new 2021 rabies tag. Mm-hmm. And, if a pet got lost, the Northgate Animal Hospital phone number's on there, along with the tag number. Somebody could call our office, and through our database, through the rabies tags, we can get the pet back. So if you don't have a scanner, or you haven't taken it to a veterinarian, that is an excellent way. And actually the best and quickest way is always keep your collars and tags on your pet.
Okay, perfect. Jim, thanks so much again. Here's the information if you want to reach out to the Hammon team at the Northgate Animal Hospital. Their office is on Hamill Road in Hickson. Phone number is 875-9033. Online, it's northgateanimalhospital.com. Thanks.
We're celebrating Dollywood. Head over to Channel 3's Facebook page and you could win family 4-packs of Dollywood tickets. Grand prize includes Dollywood